You are listening to the Overcome Pornography for Good podcast, episode 209, Utilizing Learn and Move On. Welcome to the Overcome Pornography for Good podcast, where we take a research-based, trauma-informed, and results-focused approach to quitting porn. This approach has been revolutionary and changed thousands and thousands of lives. I'm your host, Sarah Brewer. Hey everyone, welcome to today's podcast episode. So glad that you are here. Last week, I talked about the free program that we have up and running. We do have it up and running today. I'm recording this a week before you all will hear it next week, but we've got it going. So come and join us. It's the free Overcome Pornography for Good program. You can join at school.com/overcome pornography for good. In this container, we have different exercises. It's the most clear-cut, most important things to get you started on your journey to quit porn. These are videos that are pulled from the paid program. Just, a couple of them that I think would be the most useful for you if you're just getting started. And so there's the videos and some worksheets. And then we also have some free weekly Q&A calls in this community as well. And so it's totally free to join. Come and join us. Would love to have you there. It's a place you can really dive in and start getting to work. And as a little teaser, our podcast episode today is going to be the first video in the classroom setting of that. It's the Learn and Move On video. And so please enjoy this video. It's going to teach you how to utilize this concept of learn and move on. And then it goes through the worksheet. To get access to the worksheet, you just have to go sign up for the free program. And it's there. You can download it and use it as often as you like. Learn and move on is one of the major skills and worksheets that we use in the program, and we're constantly referring back to it. This is going to give you so much data. Here's the goal of Learn and Move On is that we are making decisions from data instead of drama. Data over drama, data over drama. That is one of my mantras for everything because it's so easy to get caught up in our heads on this is why I did this is what I need to change. But our brains, they just catastrophize and instead of just guessing, let's look at the actual data that we have and make decisions off of that data. And so Learn and Move On does that with your pornography habit. Instead of, I need to start a workout routine now to quit porn, and I need to just be a little bit stronger, and I need to use more willpower. Or maybe you're thinking, the problem is that I'm not motivated enough and I get more motivated. And then you do the Learn and Move On worksheets, and what you see is, actually, what's going on is I'm overstimulated at the end of the day and I need a better way to relax before I just kind of explode and then go and view pornography. Or, I'm actually not that great at processing urges yet, and let's practice that skill over focusing on these other areas. It gives you a really clear idea of where to laser focus your focus in on. Because if we're trying to do all these things at once, it's just so much better to be laser focused on the thing that's going to get you the most results, the quickest results. And that's what I teach you to do in the Learn and Move On process. After you finish this podcast, you've done one video in that free community. So go and join and then just keep going through the different videos you've already started. And then you can download the worksheet while you're there too. Again, it's totally free. You can be anonymous when you sign up. You can put in, I think it asks you to put in a profile picture and your name. But you can put a picture of a mountain or a picture of a flower and then put your name as anonymous or make up a name. It doesn't really matter to us. We want you to be in there however that's the most comfortable for you. We would love to see your real names, of course, and most people do come in and put their real actual names, but I don't want that to be a deterrent for any of you who want to remain anonymous. We can do that for you. All right, you guys have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Okay, I want to talk about the Learn and Move On exercise. The goal of this exercise and of this tool I'm going to give you is we're turning drama into data, and we're turning slip-ups into stepping stones. So what this is, it's a tool. Every time you slip up, every time you view porn and you weren't planning on it and it was something that you didn't want to be doing, we're going to do this exercise. And the purpose of this is to turn all of that drama. So you've got all of that drama in your brain about what it means that you did this, what it means about you that you did this, how dumb it was, or I don't know why I did this, or, all those things. We're going to turn all of that drama and we're going to turn it into data. And all of these slip-ups, we're going to turn them into stepping stones. And so I really want you to see this as an exercise
that is so valuable to you because it's giving you data. And the more data you collect, the more knowledge you're going to have, and the quicker you're going to change, and the quicker you're going to be able to quit. A lot of us, when we slip up with the porn or we view and we don't want to be viewing, we just don't want to think about it, don't want to look at it, or say, we're not going to do that again. Instead, and this might be a slide. Yeah. Instead of avoiding thinking about your slip ups, we are going to ask you to deep dive into them and explore everything that's coming up. Okay. We're going to, in this exercise, and it's a worksheet, so I'll show you the worksheet here in a minute, but in this exercise, we're going to explore the before and after of the porn use. Okay. Before porn, there's going to be things to look at. So before the event of looking at the porn, there might be things to look at like witching hours, urges. What did we do with the urges when they came up? Thoughts and justifications, or like workarounds in our mind. What thoughts were coming up about this? Desire. What can we learn about this desire? Just the situational facts, where you were, what you were doing, emotions, what was going on with your nervous system at that time. What were you feeling? Were you buffering? Were you feeling stressed? Were you feeling lonely? What was going on before this? And then there's the after. So after the event. And that's where we're going to be looking at shame, where we're going to be looking at binging, where we're going to be looking at some judgment or anger or distress after the event. Our number one priority is to work through the after stuff first. Okay, specifically the shame and the distress. And then, the binging, judgment, anger is all kind of results of the distress and the shame. And so this is not an easy task. This is a lot of the work we're going to be doing, and healing this is going to solve a lot of this. Okay. So it's not always easy. And so if you're spending a lot of your time or even most of your time here on the after stuff, that is still a huge win. The shame and the distress around the porn use is often the most damaging part of the porn use. The shame and distress around it is going to create out of control behavior. It's going to make the porn use work. And research shows, and we have a whole milestone and lots of videos on all the research, and you can go read the research and see all the sources on our website. But the research shows over and over again that the worst effects of pornography use are not the porn itself, but the moral incongruence of the porn use. So what that means is the effect that it's having on you because of the moral incongruence. So moral incongruence is like, this is what I believe and my actions are not lining up with that. It's like cognitive dissonance, but with like morals and values involved. So this is what I believe is right, and I'm not doing what is right. And the research shows over and over again, that's where the worst effects of the porn use is in that space of moral incongruence. Another reason that we want to address this, the after stuff first, is because we cannot make our best decisions and we cannot make changes until we address and heal shame first. Shame has such an impact on our nervous system that it sends us into like fight, flight, freeze, fawn, these symptoms, these nervous system, like flip your lid, right? So if you watched the online versus offline videos, right, we talk about flipping your lid. So shame is going to be that. And so it has a huge effect on your nervous system. And so we cannot make like our best decisions if we're in fight, flight mode. And so that's why we have to heal the shame to help us to make better decisions, or to help us like use our prefrontal cortex and this higher part of our brain to be thinking through things. You cannot use that when you're in shame. You can't, your body won't let you. Your body's in like this terrible fight, flight, freeze state. And so in order for us to use this higher brain to make good decisions and make plans and think through things logically, we have to heal the shame, because if we don't, then we're making decisions that are maybe erratic. I'm never going to view again. We're getting into all or nothing thinking and like kind of beating ourselves up, and we're making really drastic changes that don't really work. And then you fall into this cycle of all or nothing. I'm all freaking in, slip up, shame, distress, feeling horrible. And then in that deep place, we're like, I'm going to pull myself up and we're all or nothing again. And I'm done. And then you fall again. And it's like so disruptive and distressing, and just, it's not working. It's not working. It's a really rough place to be. So we want to try to sit here instead in the middle, not be doing these big swings, these big jumps, these big all or nothings. Be in the middle. We've got to heal shame in order to do that. So when we're looking at this, we're going to be looking at all these different things. And our goal as coaches is, if there's a lot here, we're going to be looking at this first and trying to heal this first. And we'll be like talking about these also throughout it and kind of going back and forth, but this is the really important stuff that we want to look at first. Okay, so healing shame will help you make the most progress and help you view porn less, right? So because the shame creates out of control behavior, because the shame makes the porn use work, and you're seeing that in your models and you're watching that, I really dive into how that works in the sexual shame and in the shame milestones. And you should have kind of an understanding of that if you've listened to me for a while. But healing the shame will help you make the most progress. It's not either shame or justification. There's middle ground. Healing shame is going to help you the most. But one thing I want to also make sure you're aware of is that we do not have goals for your porn use, okay? That is up to you. And everyone has different goals. And we do not have expectations for you coming into this. Maybe your goal is just to feel more in control. And that doesn't mean quitting porn altogether, but it just means having less compulsive behavior around it. We can help you with that 100%. Maybe your goal is to stop buffering, to stop using pornography as an escape from your life. And that doesn't mean that you're totally quitting for you, but it just means we're not buffering anymore. Kind of how people might do that with sugar, you know? My goal is to stop buffering with sugar. And I'm not saying I'm never going to have sugar again, but I am going to really work on my emotional health so I don't need sugar as a way to escape my life. Maybe your goal is to stop porn altogether, and we can work through that with you. Absolutely. And we support you if that's your goal. Maybe your goal is just better relationships and you're like, the porn is getting in the way of my relationship. So everyone has different goals here. And I want to make this really clear because we do not have expectations or goals for you that you're going to quit all the way. And we know that everyone has different goals. So our only goal here is that you experience healing and that you have the tools that you need in order to feel in control. Okay. That is our goal, that you experience healing from the shame, healing from the sexual shame, and that you get the tools and understand and embody these tools that you need to feel in control to live your best life. We genuinely do not care if you view pornography. Okay? We do not care. If you decide that your goal is to quit all the way, great. If you decide that your goal is just to view less and have less compulsive viewing, great. We care about everything else that's underneath the surface of the porn use, okay? We don't care about the actual porn use and if you're deciding to view or not, we care about what's happening underneath. Is there distress? Is there out of control behavior? Is there are you acting in a way that you want to be acting? Do you feel good about your life? How is the porn, is it affecting relationships? Do we need to take a look at that? We care about everything under the surface. And we care if you're experiencing healing and feeling good about your life. Okay? So let's review this worksheet. Let's talk about this Learn and Move On worksheet. Okay, so this is the Learn and Move On worksheet that you'll use. I want you to do this anytime that you view porn and you weren't planning on it, or you slip up, okay? Whatever that looks like for you, whenever you have a slip up, this is going to give us so much data. Now, you can use this just for your own information and just to learn for yourself. You can also always bring this to a coaching call or bring this to the Ask a Coach. So this is one of the things we get the most in the Ask a Coach are responses to this worksheet and what you're learning from this worksheet and getting some information on what you can glean from this worksheet. So when you are submitting this to Ask a Coach, I recommend just putting in a summary, here's kind of what I discovered after doing this Learn and Move On tool. I need help with this part. Or is there anything that you might notice that I didn't notice? You can even, if you email them because I don't know if we have a way quite yet for you to attach documents into that form, but you can email them and they can give you a way to send the document. You can just say, I've got a Learn and Move On tool. I want to send you the document. How can I do that? Okay, here's what you're going to fill out in the worksheet. Number 1, the facts about what happened. So we just want to look at what was going on, the time, the place, how long were you working through this? If you were trying to process urges beforehand, how long were you processing urges before that? Just give us as many details as you feel comfortable here. The facts about what happened, we don't need to know specifics of what you're looking at or what you're reviewing, but we do want to know what happened. Tell us the things. What are the facts about what happened? Are you experiencing shame? If yes, why? The mindset here, you guys, is we are scientists observing a new species. And so it's we're not judging ourselves. We're oh, they're feeling shame because of this and this. Oh, what else? This is so fascinating. That's the energy, okay? How can you challenge those shame-producing thoughts? What can you say to yourself to challenge these? This document, you can fill it out and save it on your own desktop, or you can just take these questions and like copy them into your own document. Or if you like to write, you can just write them on your journal, whatever you want to do. What were the emotions leading up to this? What were the events leading up to this? Was there something that happened earlier in the day that might have triggered this event? So just thinking before what happened. Was I lonely? Was I stressed? Was I bored? What was I feeling? What was going on that day? Were there events leading up to this? And we're not talking about just like the moment of the urge or like 30 minutes before the urge. We're talking, let's look at the whole day. Was there something earlier in the day that might have triggered this event? If it was at night, how was I feeling in the morning? Or like even broader, we can even look at the whole week. How is this week going? Is there something I'm noticing about how I was feeling and what I was experiencing this week or this day that might have played into this, right? It could be like maybe there's been stressful events at home. There's been stressful events at work, and maybe some emotions have just kind of been pushed down and maybe they just exploded out and you viewed porn. So let's just play with this and get some data around this. What was going on there? What was happening that makes sense that you viewed? This is where we're giving ourselves some validation piece and unshaming this, and not to go into justification, but just to help us look at things a little bit more neutrally so we can make progress, okay? Maybe an example of this is I was stressed. It was witching hour. I was in a shame spiral. I was binging because I was in a shame spiral. This is an opportunity for you to be a compassionate observer and de-shame the experience. So a compassionate observer is like what I was talking about, right? We're looking at this like we're scientists observing a species. We're looking back on this event just from let's just observe. We're just observing. We're just looking, and we're being very compassionate while we're doing that. What loopholes did your brain come up with that caused you to view? So what we mean by loopholes is that you're going to download and scan this document. It's under the belief and identity module. You might not have done that module yet, so we're just giving it to you here. There's a podcast episode on this. You can listen to it. You don't need to. So you're going to download this. The next question is, what loopholes did your brain come up with that caused you to view? What we're looking at here is we're looking at like what were the thoughts beforehand and looking at these again neutrally. Like these aren't bad, but maybe we don't want to be thinking them, or maybe they're not helpful. And so really getting out of like it's bad that I use this loophole, and like instead, was this helpful or not helpful? So you're going to click on this and it'll take you to this document that explains all of these different loopholes, and you can just scan through it. You can listen to the episode if you would like to, where we talk about them in depth, but I also recommend, just scanning it will give you the information that you need. Okay, next question. Did you stop, drop, and breathe? Did it work? Did you try other offline or grounding tools? If you don't know what stop, drop, and breathe is, that's okay. You'll learn about it in the urges milestones. So you can go watch that or skip this or, write what you can and talk about what grounding tools you did do. Did you try other offline or grounding tools? What worked and what didn't? Here is where we're looking at, is stop, drop, and breathe enough? Or do we need some more grounding tools? And can we help you with that? What are your 3 takeaways from this event? Looking through all this data, what are your 3 takeaways? As a compassionate observer, visualize yourself replaying the events and implementing your 3 takeaways. Visualization is powerful, so don't skip this part. You can add things into this text box or not. What we really want you to do is just take a minute and visualize yourself redoing the event and implementing your 3 takeaways. And then lastly, any other observations or thoughts that you have, we want to hear all of it. We want to gather as much data as possible. Okay. All right, you guys, this is the Learn and Move On tool. Use it often, show it to us, bring it to coaching often. This is going to be really powerful.
I want to invite you to come and listen to my free class, How to Overcome Pornography for Good Without Using Willpower. We talk about how to stop giving into urges without pure willpower or relying on phone filters so that you can actually stop wanting pornography. We talk about how to stop giving up after a few weeks or months, and spoiler alert, the answer isn't have more willpower. And then lastly, we talk about how to make a life without porn easily sustainable and permanent. If you're trying to quit porn, this class is a game changer. So you can go and sign up at sarahbrewer.com/masterclass, and it is totally free.